All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to us live tonight. We have just got our hands on a public record that we want to share with you. It is some traumatizing, heartbreaking video tonight. As you were seeing live on our website earlier today, we broke a story that involved a sheriff's dispatcher here in Ross County. And I'm joined now with Mark Craycraft of the Scioto County Daily News. And of course, we're simulcasting with our news partners, and you can catch the replay here on our website and on the Daily News website as well. But what we have here that we're going to share with you guys is we have this this body cam video of this DUI crash involving this sheriff dispatcher. So we're going to give you guys a quick rundown on exactly what happened. It was Saturday night when a dispatcher from the Ross County Sheriff's Office was late to work. Her coworkers were calling her wanting to know where she was at. When they didn't hear from her, she told them eventually that she had car trouble and that she was on her way into work. About 20 minutes later, the Chillicothe Police Department started responding to an accident scene on Yoctangi Parkway at Mill Street. When they got there, there was 4 vehicles involved, and one of them was this dispatcher. We just got our hands on the body cam video. It's about 10 minutes long. Mark and I are going to play it in its entirety, and once we have that video played in its entirety, we'll come back, we'll give some commentary, and then we're going to bring an expert in who is an attorney here in Central Ohio who will be able to break down the severity of this case and sort of kind of what the parameters are and the what is it, Mark, the penalties that she's looking at.
Well, yeah, he'll be able to really give us some in-depth knowledge of what's to come. So we're going to talk about what happened, and he'll be able to give us insights on what's next. So we're very, very pleased to have him with us.
Yes, and he'll be joining us in just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and roll this body cam video. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you guys some viewer discretion. It's heartbreaking. Regardless of who you are, regardless of the circumstances, it's very hard to watch at times. It's about 10 minutes long. We're going to play it in its entirety. Then we'll come back and we'll break that video down for you guys. So we'll go ahead and get it queued up here and play it for you guys.
Hi. What we got here? That's a good one. Everyone okay?
Disc off. There's a lady in the car now.
So is it injury or you got marked?
I can't get this door really open without.
Man, do you need a squad?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
Headquarters, this is a code 4. We need a squad here.
Sir, can I ask you?
I'm Moore, Officer Moore.
I'm not name dropping or anything like that.
Hang on, I'm more concerned about your safety right this second. What hurts on you exactly?
Pretty much my whole body, my wrist does.
Does your neck hurt?
Slightly. It's just the way that I'm positioned.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes, I'm listening.
I am. I'm not name dropping, I swear to God, I'm not.
Okay.
I work for the sheriff's office. I'm a dispatcher.
Okay.
I'm not name dropping, like I said. I was supposed to come in.
I want to see if this door opens at all.
Okay. My neck.
Your neck?
I mean, okay. It's not really hurt.
I don't want to further injure you if your neck is.
That's just my main concern. I don't want to injure me either.
Are you able to maintain this position until the squad gets here? Can you move at all?
Yeah, I can move, but I don't think I can maintain it.
Okay, I'm gonna try to open this door. Okay.
No.
Don't do it.
No, okay. I'm scared. I'm gonna fall.
Well, I'm gonna stop you from falling. I just gotta get in here. But does your neck feel injured at all?
Not as of this moment. Not right now.
Okay.
Please, my back hurts.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I don't think I should move you right now because I don't want to cause further injury.
My legs.
Your legs hurt?
I can feel them, feel all my toes and everything.
Okay.
Like I said, sir.
Headquarters, let the squad know this is an entrapment.
Sir.
I'm
listening.
I was just waiting for her to
okay.
for me to respond to you. This is my elected call.
This is your what?
This is my wake-up call that I am an alcoholic.
Okay.
I do work for the sheriff's office as a dispatcher, but I'm probably going to be fired after this.
Okay. Are you saying you're impaired right now?
I probably am.
How much have you had to drink?
I'm not sure, sir. I started drinking earlier in the day.
Okay. Think about how many?
No, sir. It was wine.
One.
Yes, sir.
Were you at home or
At
friend's
home.
house? Or?
No, at home.
Okay.
I overslept this evening, and I called.
Are you en route to work?
Yes.
Okay.
God. I can't. I know I'm going to lose my job, but I can't.
Well, you don't necessarily know that. I mean,
Sir, if I lose this job, I'm not going to have any insurance.
let's worry about that at a different time. I'm more worried about your safety right now.
Okay.
I don't want you to be injured at all.
I know that. I know.
Right now, you can't really tell if you have a serious injury, so I don't want to further that by.
I know. I'm just trying to keep going to stay awake or whatever. I'm trying to remember my.
Do you know how you ended up in the back seat?
I don't know that part.
Did you go unconscious at all?
No, I didn't. I don't know if that's how hard I hit the car, how fast I was going.
We're pretty much out of the roadway. Maybe for the squad. I think we got enough cruisers here though. I'm gonna stay with you until the squad gets here, okay?
Name, sir?
Huh?
Can I get your name?
More?
Officer Moore. Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you were the one. Didn't you share some pizza or something?
Probably.
I can't remember. I think that was you. All right, they're close. Now I see you're bleeding
Where?
on your hand.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any other bleeding.
I don't know either. I'm not honestly sure. I know that I am not able to turn over.
Okay.
Me
So you can
personally.
feel your toes.
Yes.
Is there any numbness anywhere?
It's just cold.
Okay, it's just cold. You said your neck kind of hurts,
Yeah, but it's a cold.
but your back is the one that hurts, right?
Yeah, it's a cold numb.
Okay.
Like I've been out in cold too long.
Okay.
Which it is cold outside. I do know my dad's telephone number.
You what?
I know my dad's telephone number.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Tell him. I'm sorry.
What's your dad's name?
This is just a redaction right now. The audio will resume in just a few seconds as they redacted some private information.
Okay, so she said she's got some back pain. She can feel her toes. She said her neck kind of hurts, but she doesn't think it's broken. But when I try to move the door, she says it hurts too bad.
Okay. Well, we got a problem there. Well, I'm worried about moving something and hurting you. So we got to do something. Are you laying down with this hand?
I didn't want to move or anything until you guys got here.
Yeah, we got. I'd say we should.
Me?
Where do you go? I got a stone.
Oh, I don't know.
There's 4 vehicles total.
Was there people on them, the other ones? Or?
I don't know. I'm assuming at least 2 or 4.
Nope. Got it.
Back pain.
She's got a cut on her hand. I think that's where the blood is.
Okay, that's all I see.
Right here on her finger.
Yeah. Is that the dispatch from the sheriff's office? What's she saying happened?
Said she's drunk. Speeding work.
No shit. Was this thing parked?
I think that was parked.
But tail lights is on.
Well, let me ask her real quick.
She looked like she rolled. Can you tell? We're trying to tell from this. That's spray stuff out her vehicle. Okay.
I would imagine that's how she ended up in the back seat.
It had to come out from rolling.
Some absolutely heartbreaking video there, Mark, that we were watching of that dash cam.
Well, I can tell you, you're absolutely right. I wrote some notes during that. The first thing, Officer Moore did a wonderful job, and I want to just bring up the fact that he did a classic example of de-escalation, especially in a time like this. I wrote down that he was comforting. He asked questions in a non-confrontational way, and then even made a connection over pizza to, in a situation like that, the victim has got all kinds of adrenaline going on, injuries they may not even know about, certain things they can't feel. In fact, if you saw from the video, she didn't even know she was bleeding until he pointed it out. So I wanted to start with Officer Moore and congratulate him on the way that this call was handled from a law enforcement standpoint. I think he did a very, very good job. When it comes to the victim, the quote of the day, I believe, is the fact that she said, "This is a wake-up call." And when she says, "This is a wake-up call, I'm an alcoholic," that sums up the whole thing.
That's exactly what she said. She said, "This is a wake-up call. I'm an alcoholic." She talks about her job at the sheriff's office, how she's going to lose her job. And she was in a lot of pain, it sounded like. It was absolutely tragic, heartbreaking to watch at times.
The officer was correct that it may not, when he said, "Well, that may not be the case," because soon we're going to be talking about moving forward. What they're going to need to do is review some of the personnel files with this individual and see if she's had reprimands or any type of citations for work-related issues, whether it be with sobriety or other other behavioral issues. But of course, it goes back to the famous, we've all seen it. How many drinks have you had? Just one. But just one.
And the Guardian, we reached out to the Ross County Sheriff today, Sheriff George Lavender, as well as his Lieutenant Preston, tried to get some information from them. Has this happened before? Does she have issues in her disciplinary file? What would have happened had she had arrived at work where she admittedly was on her way to, and answering 911 calls and dispatching deputies? What would have happened had she had got seated in that chair in that command center? And we didn't hear back from the sheriff's office. They didn't answer our calls and didn't return our email when we reached out to them.
And that'll come out during the course of this, especially when they review personnel files for other issues, and it may call into question other things that we don't know about, the way other calls were dispatched, the way other things were handled. I just recently we did the simulcast together with the escape from the jail, and so though there may have been some decision making errors, we don't know what we don't know, but we will know. Once this moves forward. And I want to point out, I use the word victim because this was a crash and there was a victim, but there's also other victims, and that is the innocent, completely innocent people that had their property ruined. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So basically what happened was they said she was driving down Yaktangi Parkway here in Chillicothe, and she went across the center line, or that little median section there, right at Mill Street, not far from the YMCA, hit some parked cars, and also hit a car. From what our understanding was, according to the police report, there was a car in the street at that intersection that she hit too. So a lot of damage from a standpoint with a lot of vehicles, and of course you saw the damage with her car too. We're told that 4 vehicles, including hers, were involved.
Well, we had a similar situation with that here in Scioto County, involving a New Boston City Council person.
Remember that?
This was just within the last 45, 60 days. And so we know how that turned out. So we kind of have an idea of what's going to happen here, but every case is unique. Every person is entitled to a good defense, and I think we have an expert that's going to really shed some light on that when we're ready to move forward on that deal.
Yeah, we do have an expert. We're going to be joined here by Dan Sable. He is a premier DUI defense attorney, along with other criminal defense in Columbus, Ohio. Dan is a partner at the Sable Mallory Law Firm there in Columbus, and he is a qualified instructor in field sobriety, and he's one of the very few board-certified trial attorneys in the state of Ohio. He has extensive training in DUI, so we're going to bring Dan in right now. Dan, thanks so much for joining us live.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
So, Dan, you watched that body cam with us live here just a few minutes ago. She admitted that she was drinking while driving. She admitted that she had some drinks. Talk to us. Is this a nightmare case for a defense attorney?
Wouldn't exactly call it a nightmare. Now, as is often the case, defendants can oftentimes be their worst enemies here. And I think that is probably the case here when she referenced that she was probably under the influence, and that it was a wake-up call. That being said, there are things to talk about here. She did mention that she had drank earlier in the day. I'm guessing she works third shift, and she had overslept. So did she have some drinks in the early afternoon and then sleep for 6 hours and then hit the road? How much did she have to drink? These are all questions that would bear significantly on whether the state can prove her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt or not. In addition to that, some of the indicia that you would expect to see in an OVI case simply wasn't there. The officer indicated in the statement that Derek was so kind to get to me that she had slurred speech. I didn't really pick up on that in the crash. And if there was some slurred speech, perhaps that could be attributed to the accident as opposed to drinking. In addition, in that statement, there was no mention of any odor of alcohol, which is very significant in an alcohol DUI case. Frankly, I could count on one hand how many cases where an officer says he didn't smell any odor of alcohol, yet the person was under the influence of alcohol.
Now, Dan, the fact that she was in the back seat, is there, and she told law enforcement that she didn't know how she got in the back seat, but she did admit that she was on her way to work. Is there any defense there that she wasn't in the driver's seat?
I think not.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's pretty clear that she was the one operating that vehicle. She admitted to driving. She was still in the car. I think that in a terrible accident like that, it's not unusual to have somebody cast about the interior of the vehicle. I do not think that would be a strong defense.
So, Dan, what happens moving forward in this case? What we understand, she's still in the hospital. They say that the law enforcement say she'll be cited once she gets released from the hospital. What happens once she receives her citations?
So she'll be set for an arraignment, at which time I would anticipate she would plead the case not guilty, and then whoever's handling the case would acquire all the state's evidence. And go about fighting and of course get her side of the story here. There was blood taken, I believe, at the hospital, and the officer indicated, I believe, he's going to issue a subpoena to obtain that blood test result. Now, it's important to note that blood test result isn't going to come in automatically. This wasn't a forensic test. This was a hospital test. They don't withdraw blood and analyze it for the purpose of prosecution. They do it for treatment. So the state's really going to have to jump through a lot of hurdles in order to get that into evidence. And who knows, she may want to use that blood test to her benefit if it is under the legal limit. In addition to that, the officer probably should not be using a subpoena and should get a search warrant, because any good attorney would probably be able to get that blood test thrown out if he doesn't adhere to her Fourth Amendment rights.
And so worst case scenario here, maximum sentence wise, she's convicted of, she's going to be cited according to law enforcement for driving while under the influence and failure to control for the accident. What's the worst case scenario maximum penalties for both those charges?
Sure. So the worst case scenario for an OVI, and this is all assuming that this is a first offense, the maximum penalty is 180 days of incarceration, a $1,075 fine, and a 3-year license suspension. However, there are mandatory minimum penalties too. That is, the judge must impose a certain sentence. And for a first OVI, you're looking at 3 days of incarceration or 3 days at a driver intervention program, a 1-year license suspension, and a $375 fine and court costs. And, you know, as mentioned, there are some people that have some serious damage to their vehicles. That has to be taken care of. Hopefully she has insurance that'll handle that.
Now, there is this thing called intervention and ILC, intervention of lieu of conviction, which I know your firm has had some experience in. Can you talk about what ILC is?
I could talk about it, but it's not going to be applicable in this case. And
it's not going to be. But she says, Dan, I'm an alcoholic, so it's not applicable to this?
No, for certain low-level felony cases and misdemeanor cases, if alcohol or drugs of abuse or mental health issues had a part to play and you're a first-time offender, you can enter into this program, successfully complete treatment, stay out of trouble, abstain from using drugs or alcohol, and eventually get the case dismissed. However, it can't be applied to OVI cases.
Mark, anything you want to add with Dan?
Can her statement, the wake-up call, the soundbite, to me, the soundbite of the evening, can that be used because she, we're still in discovery. She wasn't being Mirandized. So can this be used in court? This part of it, is it admissible?
I think she was not in custody at the time she said that. And frankly, if I remember right, I don't think it was even in response to a specific question by the trooper. I think she just kind of offered it up. And at this point, short of there being an arrest or frankly anything close to it, I think those statements are coming in because they were voluntary, they weren't coerced. And obviously they hurt. Now, that being said, the statement that I'm an alcoholic, I think probably doesn't come into play. That would be a little too prejudicial and not bearing on whether she was under the influence at this particular time. I don't think that past drinking behavior would be relevant.
As far as the behavior of the officer, the responding officers, especially the initial officer and then those that arrived and then EMS, as a defense attorney, would you make any claims about the way that they handled themselves? Now, I agree with you that I was surprised to find out just now that they did not get a warrant for her blood at the hospital. That's huge. In the case that we had here, the councilman was sent to the hospital for the purposes of having a blood draw and of course to be checked out. And like you mentioned, Dan, there were no, in this case, there were no alcohol, the smell of alcohol or containers. In our case, there was alcohol containers everywhere, just fell out of the vehicle. And none of the police did not escort the ambulance to the office or to the hospital. And the prosecutor, there was no warrant for a blood draw. So in this case, which is everything's different and everything has different parameters, but in this case, why don't you think that they didn't issue a warrant for the blood and escort the ambulance to the office to ensure that the chain of custody for that blood draw was intact?
Could be a few different reasons. Perhaps there wasn't a judge on call at that particular time. Perhaps the officer just didn't think of it. I will say I thought that he did a very good job with the motorist, making sure that she's safe and things of that nature, and he's to be commended for that. As far as not getting a warrant, I mean, he had plenty of time. You have 3 hours from the point of the crash to get a forensic blood draw. And certainly, I would think there's enough time to get a hold of a judge and get a warrant. And if you were able to do that and she did test over the limit, she'd be looking at additional charges. Because they did not do that, she's not going to be facing additional charges. And in addition to that, even if they do get a warrant for the hospital test result, remember, there's a difference between a forensic draw and a hospital draw. They're not going to be able to bring additional charges off that hospital draw. And it's going to be very difficult for the state to get that into evidence. They're going to need an expert witness. It's going to be very expensive. And it's still subject to whether or not it's reliable in the first place. So I think that could be a big mistake that ends up helping her out. If she tests over the limit, and if she's under the limit, obviously she's going to want to get her own expert to come in and use that to her advantage.
So Dan, you know, should someone find themselves in a similar situation like this, you know, what should they do? What shouldn't they do? Obviously, don't drink and drive. But if they do find themselves in this situation, you know, don't talk to the cops. I mean, what should they do?
Well, your first point was a good one. I would strongly suggest not consuming alcohol and driving. It's not illegal for those 21 and over to consume and they get on the road, but probably not a great idea because there are going to be some officers that can't distinguish whether you're truly impaired or not. And even if you are innocent of being impaired, you may find yourself under arrest and having to hire somebody like me to help you out. Now, that being said, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in your right to remain silent. I believe in not giving the officers too much evidence, frankly. And when you're auditioning for your freedom on the side of the road, walking the line or lifting a foot, potentially on the freeway with cars going by at 80 miles per hour, I don't think that's a great test to determine whether somebody's under the influence or not. So my advice would be to be very respectful, very polite, and politely decline to engage in any testing. That's not on all cases. That's on most cases. I can tell you, I have advised people to test before. Probably rare, but it does happen. So it's very much a case-by-case situation.
Here to break down this video of this tragic accident that happened. A lot of lives are going to be changed because of this. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find more out about Dan Sable and his law firm at sablemallory.com. And Dan is, again, as we mentioned, extensive DUI training, qualified instructor in field sobriety, and board certified trial attorney. Quite the resume you got there, Dan.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
And a handsome fellow.
Hopefully the glare doesn't hurt the folks.
It was fine. It was fine. All right. Thanks for joining us, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
You take care now.
All right, Mark. Well, what I want to do, Mark, if we can, is I want to pull up what's known as Mill Street, and that is, we're going to bring up the street view. We tried to get some B-roll out there of this scene earlier today, but it got a little crazy today with Officer Nutter's funeral and some other things we had going on. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and pull up the street view of what's known as Mill Street, and we'll take a look out there of the scene here at this intersection where this accident occurred. Let's go ahead and pull that up now for you guys. Okay, so this is Mill Street, and for those of you that are not familiar with Chillicothe, it intersects with Yoctangi Parkway, not far from Chillicothe School, which is right there in the middle of your screen, and then you go through Mill Street intersection, which is right here. You got the YMCA right there on the left side of your screen, and this is right where this accident happened at Mill in Yoctangi. We're told that the woman involved in this accident was traveling down Yoctangi Parkway on her way to the sheriff's office. So she would have been going this direction, going to the sheriff's office, and this is right where that crash happened at this intersection. We're told, according to the police report, that she crossed this center line right here, failed to negotiate a curve, which I imagine was probably going to be this one up here, went into, left the center, hit a car, hit some parked cars. A total of 3 cars she damaged, 4th one including her own. So this is a view of that intersection for those of you that are familiar with the area. Very busy intersection. Very lucky, Mark, that it wasn't during the day, during the week when school was letting in or out of session.
Well, in addition to that, and you're exactly right. In addition to that, you saw the placement of the vehicle on the people's property. So you're looking at the potentiality of a lot of injuries, especially now that in we had kind of bad weather, but then it got a little bit nicer. So people's going to be out milling around trying to the governor gave us an extra hour on the curfew, so there'd be more time. But yeah, I'm glad you do that. If you show that picture there on the right hand side of the screen, where all the people are, or where the property is, there could have very, very easily been people that you saw a utility trailer. You saw, it's just that utility trailer right there is kind of what caught my eye. Was if somebody had something early to do in the morning, if you got a utility trailer, you work, right? So if you had something early to do in the morning, why would there could be a dad out there with his son trying to bond and load that truck up and get ready for work in the morning, and then this comes along. I mean, this could have been it's bad, but it could have been absolutely life-changing for many, many people. This was a kind of the best case scenario of a bad situation.
Absolutely, best case scenario of a bad situation. Could have been much worse. She could have lost her life. She could have killed somebody else. From what we understand, though, Mark, she was taken to the hospital here at Adena Regional, transferred to Grant Medical Center in Columbus, and she has 2 broken legs, as well as several ribs, according to social media postings by family. She went and undergone 2 surgeries yesterday on Sunday, and she remains at this hour in the ICU unit on a ventilator.
See that, and Dan was right. There's a blood alcohol limit for a reason. So you are allowed to, go have a meal and have a drink, and you can do that. But once you get to that limit, the sobriety issue, so it's best not to drink and drive at all. We have all these luxuries of Uber and Lyft and all this kind of stuff. So there's really no reason to do that. One thing that he mentioned that I want to highlight as another great quote is auditioning for your freedom and that road sobriety test. What a fantastic quote. Auditioning for your freedom. And though, we talked about the professionalism of Officer Moore. I think he did a fantastic job. I can't find any fault with the officer. Of course, there is the not getting a warrant for the blood, which could come back to aid the defense. But man, this is again, I am we got to talk about humanity just a little bit. What she is going through now is absolutely a wake-up call. You want to talk about the physical pain that she's going through, the surgeries, the being in the ICU. If this does not motivate a life change in this individual, nothing will.
She was on her way to work, Mark, at the emergency 911 center here in Ross County, where she's in charge of dispatching fire departments countywide, EMS countywide, except for here in the city of Chillicothe, of course. That's the city does their own dispatching. 911 calls for the entire county. And dispatching sheriff's office. And as you can see here, Chase Mallory chimed in. Chase, of course, is a law partner with Dan. He chimed in on social media and says people with impaired mental faculties can't recite telephone numbers. What would have happened had she had arrived at work and her coworkers wouldn't have sensed that she was inebriated? What would have happened? It could have been catastrophe for even more people had she arrived at work.
Yes, I agree with that, and this will certainly come out as it moves forward. First, she has to heal, right? But as we move forward in the process, this is going to come out. Were there instances where her coworkers were, if she got written up, if there were, citations. But yeah, whenever you take somebody that's impaired, you go from we talking about the citizen. Now we're talking about the employee of the sheriff's department. So you're basically talking about two different people all in the same person. So the humanity side of it we see, but also the responsibility. This person is a dispatcher in charge of saving other people's lives. So she would be the one to help do the coordination of emergency response in a situation just like we're looking at on the screen right now. And if she was impaired, how would that have gone? And could it possibly save a life, or would lives be lost because she took the time? And if you notice in the video, she said, when she was talking back and forth with Officer Moore, she said, "I'm waiting for the dispatch to respond." So she knew how the system worked, and she knew what was supposed to happen chronologically, and she was giving them time for that to happen. So she she knows, right?
Oh, yes.
So, and at that, and this is the problem, that in just a few minutes, you can look at the time. I thought, well, she was late. She's supposed to be there at 2300, so she was late for work. But at 11 o'clock, she was supposed to be at the desk, answering calls, dispatching help, and helping to coordinate the render of aid to people in a situation just like this.
Well, and as you were mentioning, it's not just, I mean, let's talk about that for a second really quickly. It's the rendering of aid. These dispatchers have to tell people how to perform CPR. A lot of
Yes.
people don't know how to do CPR. So when you call 911, you're told by dispatchers, this is what you have to do. You got to lay flat on the ground, how to pump a chest, how to give breaths.
How to give yourself a Heimlich maneuver. A lot of people don't realize you can Heimlich yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Undoubtedly could have been much more serious, and it is very serious. And I hope she makes it. I mean, regardless of what she's accused of doing here, I mean, she doesn't deserve to die, of course. But certainly is a wake up call, and I hope she gets the help that she needs if she truly is an alcoholic, like she says.
And one other thing, when we've mentioned Officer Moore's name because that's what we have on record, but as we see again with these first responders and the fire department that were there, they were also very comforting, and they said in a comforting tone, this is bad. All right, you're entrapped, and we're going to do our best to try to get you out of there. But they say frankly, but at the same time, not alarmingly, you got yourself in a pickle here, gal, but we're going to do our very best to help you. And so,
and you can see right now on the screen where firefighters are having a difficult challenge of getting her out of that back seat. She doesn't know how she ended up back there. And they think that she might have rolled a couple of times, one of the firefighters asked. But you can see just how badly damaged that vehicle is and how hard it is for them to extricate her from that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was on their game. Everybody was on their game. And I got to take it one more step. Why would this county employee would have been the one dispatching this wreck had she not been the one in the wreck?
Right. She would have initially taken in that 911 call, got some preliminary information, and then she would have transferred over to the city who dispatched Officer Moore and in the city fire department out there. Absolutely 100% correct. Absolutely tragic. Well, and alcoholism is a very, very nasty disease that a lot of people suffer from. I've never been drunk, Mark. A lot of people say that might be what's wrong with me, but I don't drink alcohol. Never been drunk. Couldn't tell you what it's like to be drunk or impaired or anything like that. But I know alcoholism is a nasty disease. I've had some family members of mine suffer from alcoholism, and this dispatcher admits that she is an alcoholic, and this is a wake-up call. And there is help out there available for people if they need assistance, and it's very important that they seek that.
Well, the thing that makes at the forefront of everybody's mind is this opioid epidemic and all of the crime that comes with it and the abuse that comes with it and just the deluge of crime related to opioids. And it takes alcoholism, I think, not only to the backseat, but completely out of a lot of people's minds. That this is a very serious issue, and you can call it an illness. You can call it however you want to term it. That's not my place to to do that. But I will say I'm 11 years sober myself, and so I had those struggles. At the time, I didn't feel like it was a struggle, but thankfully, I didn't need this quote unquote wake up call to bring myself out of it. And it's only by the hand of God that I didn't have these kind of troubles, because I certainly was there. So I can see both sides of it, having been a daily drinker and now having been 11 years with sobriety. I see both sides of it, and my heart goes out to her as an individual, but as an employee of the county, there's a very, very serious liability and accountability that needs to happen going forward.
And we reached out to the sheriff's office and tried to get some information from them about her current employment status. Of course, unfortunately, she still is in the hospital fighting for her life as she's on a ventilator. But we tried to get some information. Is she going to be paid on unpaid administrative leave? Has this happened before? And the sheriff simply just did not answer our calls and return our messages.
And that's not atypical this early in the stage. They have their attorney, the city attorney, however it works with their department that's helping to guide them and what they need to do. So I'm sure over the next days and weeks, they will formulate exactly what they're going to do. And if it is a compensation thing, if paid or unpaid, then they can make that retroactive. But issue number one is her recovery, physical recovery, and then work on her emotional recovery as we move forward through the court process. But she's got to get out of the hospital. She's got to get put back together again. And I've said the humanity here, on a personal level, we wish her the best. There is nothing good. You said at the beginning of this that you gave a warning at the beginning that it's graphic. There's nothing good here. There's no celebration of at all. We are genuinely sorry and hope the best for her and her family. It's just unbelievable, and so thankful that nobody else was injured.
Absolutely. And we had the number up there for the national hotline, and we'll bring it up here in just a second. We had a national hotline phone number up there for anyone who is suffering from alcoholism, to be sure to give them a helpline a call, and it's confidential information that you share with them. They'll be sure to get you guys the help that you need. Don't be afraid to call. It is free. The number's on your screen, 800-662-HELP, or it's also 662-4357. We have uploaded this dash cam video on our website, Mark, and I understand you're going to have it up on your website tonight as well.
Yes.
And so you can go to SciotoValleyGuardian.com and SciotoCountyDailyNews.com to watch this video. It is up on our website. It's going to be up on Mark's website in just a little bit. You can go back and rewatch that video, of course, at the conclusion of this broadcast. This video itself and this broadcast will stay up on our social media platforms. You can rewatch that in its entirety, including the interview that we had with Dan Sable.
And I want to give a shout out. Dan is a super qualified person to enter into this conversation, and we appreciate him taking the time out, his personal time, to weigh in on this situation. And if ever a person has an issue like that, or a family member or knows somebody, call Dan. And what was his partner's name? Mallory.
Chase Mallory and Dan Sable. They have Sable Mallory Law Firm. You know what? I'm going to tell them myself, but it's public record. I'm not immune from traffic offenses myself. Anyone who knows me knows I have a lot of traffic citations, mostly speed.
You need a driver. That's it. You need a driver.
One time when they tried to suspend my license, well, go ahead and suspend my license. I'll get an autonomous vehicle that'll self-drive me around. But I have a lot of speed tickets. Dan is so good. Listen, it's very important that you get an attorney if you need help. Like I said, it's public record, so I'm going to go ahead and tell the world, for those of you that don't know, but I had a speeding ticket that I received on July 4th a few years ago. It was 103 and a 65, and I tried to get it taken care of myself. I couldn't do it. and I was telling Dan about it, and he talked with the prosecutor, and he got it dismissed. And I shouldn't have been speeding, and I did pay the fees and the court costs associated with that, and it sure did hurt my wallet. Let me tell you why, because it was expensive. But it does pay to have an attorney, and it does pay to call Sable Mallory.
Important qualifier: you were not drunk; you were just being a leadfoot.
That's right. I was on my way in a rental truck. Get this, I was in a rental pickup truck from Enterprise.
No, I thought
brand new.
I didn't think it was getting worse.
Brand new F-150 barreling down 71 past 665 July 4th. Going to meet my friends at Big Lots in Grove City. They were all excited that I had a pickup truck because they just bought a brand new sectional couch. It gets even worse, Mark. Listen to this. So I get the speeding ticket, and then I make my way about another 2 miles up the highway, get off at Stringtown Road, go over to Big Lots, and park into the back. They start loading up the sectional couch, the associates do. And then they go and push it so far in that it shatters the back window of this F-150 that was a rental truck. So you get a speeding ticket, 103 and a 65, and then 20 minutes later, you get a $600 shattered window on a rental truck.
Now, I can tell you, U-Haul puts governors, or they did. I don't know if they still do, but U-Haul puts governors on their accelerator, so you can only go so fast.
I worked for U-Haul back when I was younger, and they absolutely do.
Yes.
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're loaded, just for those of you that may possibly need to cross the mountains in North Carolina with a moving vehicle with a governor on it, be very, very careful, because we had one of the big boys that were completely full of furniture crossing the mountains, and that sucker had all the trouble in the world trying to get over that mountain because I couldn't go any faster.
Well, Mark, I'm
giving her all she's got.
Well, it could have been worse. You could have got a ticket.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to tell you, you talked about your story about going so fast. I'm going to tell you something. I've been pulled over. Okay. And the last three, I've been pulled over 4 times in my life. All right. 3 of those 4 times, it was because I was going too slow.
Really?
Yes.
I've heard of that. I've heard there are some state laws in play that say that you can't do that.
My family makes fun of me, but yes, I've been pulled over 4 times in my life. Once was when I was actually, 16, speeding like an idiot. That's when you get your first ticket. That's when I did. And then at 3 other points in my adult life, I got pulled over, and all 3 times it was because I was going under the speed limit, and they wanted to know why. And
well,
it was easy. I was thinking.
Oh, good gosh. Well, listen, on a more serious note, I want to wrap this video one last time, and then we'll go ahead and conclude the live stream when the video ends. But I want to thank you so much for joining us, Mark. It's always a pleasure to have Scioto County Daily News live with the Guardian. We enjoy our partnership. And of course, first time we ever worked with you was David Thurman and
Empty chair.
What was his competitor's name? That's how relevant his competitor is. I don't remember his name.
Doesn't matter. His competitor was an empty chair.
An empty chair, man. That was it was the first time I met you, and I really enjoyed that time. And I always enjoy any time we get together, no matter what the topic is. Such a sad topic like this one, still always great to partner with our friends at the Scioto County Daily News. So we'll go ahead and re-rack this video, and once it ends, ladies and gentlemen, the video. Or the live stream will stop. Thanks so much for joining us, Mark.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're anytime, Mark. We love our partnership with you guys. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. What we got here? That's a good one. Everyone okay?
Disc golf. There's a lady in the car now.
So is it injury or? You got Mark.
I can't get this door really open without.
Man, do you need a squad?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
Hey, of course, this is a code 4. We need a squad here.
Sir, can I ask you?
Officer Moore.
I'm not name dropping or anything like that.
Hang on, I'm more concerned about your safety right this second. What hurts on you exactly?
Pretty much my whole body. My wrist does.
Does your neck hurt?
And slightly. It's just the way that I'm positioned.
Okay.
So
Yes, I'm listening.
I am. I'm not name dropping. I swear to God, I'm not.
Okay.
I work for the sheriff's office. I'm a dispatcher.
Okay.
I'm not name dropping, like I said. I was supposed to come in.
I want to see if this door opens at all.
Okay. My neck.
Your neck?
I mean,
Okay.
it's not really hurt.
I don't want to further injure you if your
That's
neck
just
is
my
hurt.
main concern. I don't want to injure me either.
Are you able to maintain this position until the squad gets here?
I
Can you move at all?
yeah, I can move, but I don't think I can maintain it.
Okay. I'm gonna try to open this door. Okay.
No.
Don't do it.
No,
Okay.
I'm scared. I'm gonna fall.
Well, I'm gonna stop you from falling. I just gotta get in here. But does your neck feel injured at all?
Not as of this moment, not right now.
Okay.
But please, my back hurts.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I don't think I should move you right now because I don't want to cause further injury.
My legs.
Your legs hurt?
I can feel them, feel all my toes and everything.
Okay.
Like I said, sir.
Headquarters, let the squad know this is an entrapment.
Sir.
I'm listening.
I was just waiting for her to
Okay.
for me to respond to you. This is my wake-up call.
This is your what?
This is my wake-up call that I am an alcoholic.
Okay.
I do work for the sheriff's office as a dispatcher, but I'm probably going to be fired after this.
Okay. Are you saying you're impaired right now?
I probably am.
How much have you had to drink?
I'm not sure, sir. I started drinking earlier in the day.
Okay. Think about how many?
No, sir. It was wine.
Wine?
Yes, sir.
Were you at home or
At
friend's
home.
house? Or?
No, at home.
Okay.
I overslept this evening, and I called.
Are you en route to work?
Yes.
Okay.
God. I can't. I know I'm going to lose my job, but I can't.
Well, you don't necessarily know that. I mean,
Sir, if I lose this job, I'm not going to have any insurance.
let's worry about that at a different time. I'm more worried about your safety right now.
Okay.
I don't want you to be injured at all.
I know that. I know.
Right now, you can't really tell if you have a serious injury, so I don't want to
Oh,
further that by.
I know. I'm just trying to keep telling you to stay awake or whatever. I'm trying to remember my.
Do you know how you ended up in the back seat?
I don't know that part.
Did you get unconscious at all?
No, I didn't. I don't know if that's how hard I hit the car, how fast I was going.
We're pretty much out of the roadway. Maybe for the squad. I think we got enough cruisers here though. I'm gonna stay with you until the squad
Can I
gets
get
here,
your
okay?
name, sir?
Huh?
Can I get your name?
More?
Officer Moore. Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you were the one. Didn't you share some pizza or something?
Probably.
Can't remember. I think that was you. All right, they're close. Now I see you're bleeding
Where?
on your hand.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any other bleeding.
I don't know either. I'm not honestly sure. I know that I am not able to turn over.
Okay.
Me
So you can
personally.
feel your toes.
Yes.
Is there any numbness anywhere?
It's just cold.
Okay, just cool. You said your neck kind of hurts,
Yeah, it's a cold.
but your back is the one that hurts, right?
Yeah, it's a cold numb.
Okay.
Like I've been out in cold too long,
Okay.
which it is cold outside. I do know my dad's telephone number.
You what?
I know my dad's telephone number.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
What's your dad's name? Said her neck kind of hurts, but she doesn't think it's broken. But when I try to move the door, she says it hurts too bad.
Okay. Well, we got a problem there. We're not moving something and hurting you. So we got to do something. When the caller might be then be advised that it's possible first. Are you laying down in this house?
I didn't want to move or anything until you guys got here.
Yeah, we got. I'd say we should.
Me?
Where do you go? I got to stay.
Oh, I don't know.
There's 4 vehicles total.
Was there people on them, the other ones, or?
I don't know. I'm assuming at least 2 of them.
Nope. Got it.
Back pain.
She's got a cut on her hand. I think that's where the blood is.
Okay,
It's from
yeah, that's all I see.
right here on her finger.
Yeah. Is that the dispatch from the sheriff's office? What's she saying happened?
Said she's drunk. Speaking word.
No shit. So is this thing parked?
I think that was parked.
But the tail lights is on.
Well, let me ask her real quick.
She looked like she rolled. Can you tell? We're trying to tell from this. Looks like that's priced up out her vehicle. Okay.
I would imagine that's how she ended up in the back
It
seat.
had to come out from rolling.